First 2 clicks of the level are just the fucking worst. They're actually just the worst. Okay, Jesus Christ. It's not that hard. It's not that hard, man. I don't know why that took me so long. 586. Okay. This is a fine level. I don't have any major complaints with it. There were just a few parts that kind of felt awkward, and a lot of the gameplay wasn't, like, super satisfying to do. I don't know. It's fine. I didn't dislike the level. I think it was solid overall. I mean, I honestly think the deco matches the atmosphere pretty well. Here, was that the LTM? Is full detail actually different? Hold on, I want to see this. A little? Look, I think there's a little more going on here. Here, I'll just play and talk. We'll see how I do. We'll just see if I can... Okay, never mind. There's definitely more to the level with full detail. But yeah, no, I think it did a solid job capturing the atmosphere. Like I said, the gameplay was mostly fine. My biggest complaint is that there were just a few very brutal choke points. The last jump before the drop is pretty brutal. Just any slow jump over a too tall spike is rough. Manageable, but very difficult. The first 2 clicks of the drop, the ball click and then the blue orb after it, were just kind of annoying. The 3 blue pad to pink orb clicks, were, like, fine, but again, sort of inconsistent, where you have to sort of time the pink orbs middle-late, or, like middle-ish, late-ish, kind of, to not jump so high that you barely have time to land back down on the blue pad. It was one of those things where, like if you time one poorly, it cascades and ruins the rest of them. So you had to be really careful there. Not a major complaint, but just something to maybe note if you're going to go for this level. The UFO is mostly okay. The one pink orb click was annoying because it was one of those timings where, like, there's a clear gap that you have to avoid at the start, and then a harder gap that you fall through later in the same arc, which was just annoying. If you time the orb well visually at the orb, then you die to the spike as you're falling down later, which I didn't like much at all. So you have to time it really early. Manageable once you know that, but it is sort of frustrating that that exists at all. Like I said, the red orbs with the slopes, I could totally believe were broken with 2.2. I didn't look at a video to see how it worked in 2.1. I could totally believe, though, that the red orbs into the slopes were broken with 2.2. If you're supposed to just hit the 3 red orbs there and it works how it's always worked, even now, that part's pretty terrible. But I've got to imagine that slope shit got fucked up with 2.2, because the only way I could consistently do that part was to do it how I did it, with the click the first orb and then just do 4 fast clicks to stay up over the next 2 red orbs, basically. The wave was pretty much free. It's just skill-based wave. If you can do harder waves than that wave, you can pretty much sight read that wave. There are 1 or 2 little things that are tricky. Like, there are definitely... I definitely died to it a few times from 0, but overall not bad. And then the last spider's where most of my complaints are. I'm trying to think, were there any other bad choke points in the beginning? Not really. The 2 jumps over the mini spikes with, like, the blue pads that you hit your head on were kind of frustrating. But other than that, the whole beginning is pretty much not an issue. especially because it's at the beginning. Then this last spider is just kind of frustrating. The 5 black orbs at the very start of this spider, the last one of the 5, is just a very awkward timing, because you have to time it late on the orb to make it... There's realistically very little way you can do 2 taps here. You basically have to hit the last orb and hold down for the teleport. So you have to hit the last black orb late, which I just thought was kind of weird and awkwardly placed. It's a surprisingly precise timing, especially when you're going that fast. Wasn't a fan of that. What else? Let me just look at the part. I don't remember all of it, but there were just some little irritating bits here. Let's see. Okay, this level does the thing where it shows you where to put start positions, which is pretty awesome. Yeah, this part was mostly fine, whatever. This part was mostly fine. This part was, like most of this was whatever. Oh, I should mention this blue orb right here. You can see my cursor. This blue orb, and then this click was kind of frustrating. Just because it's a little inconsistent. Not a large deal at all. I wouldn't really consider it a problem. The wave is the wave, 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 the wave is the wave. Here we go. Yeah, this timing is just really annoying, because like I say, you have to time it. You have to time this orb really late so that you fall down, hit this, and go down, but not that spike. It's just a surprisingly precise click in the middle of nowhere. Not a fan of that one. These are all pretty much whatever. These are fine. This is okay. This click you have to take really, really soon after you hit the blue pad, which I'm only mentioning because I'm going to mention something else later. You have to hit this really, really immediately after hitting this blue pad. This part was kind of weird, but it was fine. I don't think I ever died to these 3 clicks from 0, but they're just kind of awkward, floaty, in the middle of the air. Nothing's really correcting you clicks. Not my favorite, but fine. This is whatever, this is whatever. This click is really frustrating, because you can take this as a buffer, you can take this as a buffer, and you have to time this one, and you have to time it so that you just, barely pass this guy, because if you time this too late, you can totally dodge this, but then die to this off of this jump pad, which was not my favorite. Just again, another weird timing that could have been set up a little bit better, maybe be a little more forgiving, or just more clear in the initial gap. That's all one, oh, damn. Or be a little more clear in the initial gap what actually kills you, and what timing it's looking for. This one's kind of awkward, but not a problem. Whatever. This is all fine. This is all fine. This is all fine. And then this you have to take so late off of this blue pad. This was my worst death, and I died here all the time in practice because this blue pad trains you so well to go so early, and then this one you have to go so late on. Not a problem with the level, but just something I could not get into my brain. At least not without spending way more attempts on this than I needed to, realistically. So whatever. It's a solid level. I don't dislike it. I thought it did a pretty good job at doing what it wanted to do, if I'm understanding what it wanted to do correctly. Not my favorite of all time, but it was solid. If you're looking for a mid-main list IDL to play, this is a solid one. I think it might be a little bit overrated, but again, the wave I think would be a much bigger challenge for someone in the skill range of beating these as their first few high-end insanes. If you only have a few extremes, maybe this would be tough for you. So I could see why it's placed where it is. I'd put it maybe a tiny bit lower. I don't know, but it's definitely not. It's definitely not crazy wrong, at least in my opinion, where it is now in the IDL. All right, I'm gonna cut the recording here now. Bye.